From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Local Point, brought to you by Strata Networks. I'm your host, David Gale, in for Chris Piner today. On today's show, we welcome to the studio Derek Larson and Sarah John, who are here with the Boy Scouts of America to talk about the High Uinta Boy Scouts and what they have planned for the future. Most importantly, the very near future. Welcome to Local Point, both of you. Thank you for coming. Sarah, you are officially a Scout mother. You have children who are involved in scouting in the Uinta Basin. Derek, your title is a little more formal. Can you give us what your title is and what do you do?
Well, I'm our district executive, but I'm a professional scouter. I do this for a living and love doing it.
So what does that mean here in the Uinta Basin as far as your duties? Well, what do you take care of? What are your responsibilities?
Well, as the only professional scouter in the Uinta Basin, I have that privilege of affiliating with pretty much all the local chartered partners.
Okay.
So I assist those chartered partners, say, the biggest charter partner we have out here in the basin is the LDS Church.
Mm-hmm.
And I work a lot with their leadership. I work a lot with them in assisting them to get trained, run a solid scout program, basically keep scouting together. If anything, you could compare me to an engineer running a train. I keep the train on the tracks.
Oh, very good.
So
the profession who says, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done according to the rule book.
If we need a track shift, I'll get out there and change the track.
Okay. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how the Boy Scout structure works for those who may not understand when you're talking about on a local level the actual organization.
Sure. Well, typically we have a charter partner again.
Mm-hmm.
They'll host several scout units, a cub pack, a troop, a team, or a crew, something of that nature
Mm-hmm.
for the different age groups. And then they'll sit inside of a district, which is us. We're the High Uinta district.
Okay.
And we're again a subsidiary of the local or the larger game, which is the council. And we're part of the Utah National Parks Council. And there are 3 councils in the state of Utah.
Okay.
Our council is the largest in the entire United States. We have over 80,000 youth within our council, and we have 20 districts. So we've got quite a few professionals that serve in this council.
High Uinta being one of 20 districts.
One of 20 districts.
Okay. And when it comes to scouting and all of these organizations, I mean, there's a reason why, especially in Utah, it's so prolific. Why there's so many scouts, and it kind of coincides with us as a community and our goals for our kids. So what are the goals of the scouts, of the leaders of the scouts? What's the purpose of scouting?
Well, I think a lot of people have seen scouts somewhere in their history. It's been a big part of the United States. It's been around for 100 years. We just celebrated our 100-year anniversary. Scouting has 3 main objectives. It's character building, citizenship, and physical and mental fitness. And these are the objectives or aims of scouting that we shoot for. And every young man or woman, in the case of older groups, that we try and assist in gaining those kind of characteristics.
And there's a lot of work that has to be done in order to helpfully guide people along a good path in life. It's one thing just to say, hey, we want good physical health and good citizenship and whatnot, but to do that takes a lot of effort.
It does.
Scouting, camping is a pretty big deal, and we're reaching right kind of towards the end of winter. So what do we have coming up now that spring is almost upon us?
Well, we've got our food drive coming up first before our scouting events, and so that's pretty awesome.
Okay.
It gets the youth out there and involved, and they're part of that opportunity to go out and serve their community by going and gathering food that's donated and taking it up to the food pantry. So I know that's an awesome experience. I love to take out my boys. I love to take out the young scouts, the Weeblos, as well as the troop, and they really get involved, and they're out there serving their neighborhoods and everything. So.
And when does that happen? When does that start?
It's here coming up in March, isn't it?
Yep, it'll be on the 22nd, hopefully a week before or the weekend before the 22nd of March. Scouts will go around and leave door hangers, bags on people's doors saying, we'd love to have you donate. And a week later, the scouts will come by. Hopefully by 8 a.m., everyone will have put their donations out. Scouts will pick those up and take them to their local food pantries.
Okay.
So it's both here in Vernal and in Roosevelt area. So.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'd like to just reiterate how that works, because I know that there's been times where I've opened my door to leave the house and there's something hanging on it. And I'm like, what is this piece of plastic here? So if you see a piece of plastic on your door, look at it. It'll say something about Boy Scouts on it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then you bring it in, and what kind of food can you put in there?
They want non-perishables, so they want canned items, things that will stay on shelf life really well. And then those are the ones you put in the bag, set them out on your doorstep, and the scouts come around.
You don't even have to talk to anybody.
Nope. And it does say on the bag what to donate.
Absolutely.
So there's a little bit more there. So.
And we all always have something that that we can give, and then where does all of that food go? You collect it all up in trucks and whatnot?
You do.
Well, local troops, like she had said, they'll go around and collect it, and the scoutmasters or local scout leaders will take it all up into their trucks, and they'll haul it over to the Ashley Food Pantry or the Duchesne County Food Pantry in Roosevelt.
I mean, it goes locally. It
Yes,
just goes
it's all
right
local.
here, straight to
Yep,
local
stays
pantries.
right here.
That's great.
Yep.
And the kids, of course. I mean, what have been your experiences with the kids? Have you seen them glean something out of this other than, oh, I got to walk door to door, you know?
Well, it was really fun. I took out some of my Cub Scouts one day because it was one of those competitions. We couldn't get a lot of the troop boys out. And the boys, after they ran back and forth from house to house, then they came, we want to do this more often. This is so much fun. And I'm like, wonderful. That's what we wanted to hear.
That's great. That's so awesome. Another side of scouting, I mean, service is a big deal, but the boys love to, well, they're boys. They like to do boy kind of stuff, including coming up, we've got a lot of camping. We've got about 30 seconds before we got to go to break. So let's just talk just a little about how camping can meet those goals the scouts have.
Well, I'll tell you, everybody loves to be in the outdoors. Fishing, hiking, boating, you name it. If we all just need to get away and go have fun, and a camp is a place where those boys can potentially discover who they are, what they want to do, and they find talent.
Absolutely.
And up at camp is the best place to do it.
Yeah.
And we've got some pretty decent camping
Yes, we
here
do.
in our area. And well, I want to tell you all about, in case you haven't looked around, you know, outside your door and seen what kind of camping there is. There's some really great places. And we're going to hear more from Derek and from Sarah right after this quick break from our sponsor, Strata Network. Stay with us.
Strata Networks is proud to bring the first true 4G LTE network to the Uinta Basin. 4G LTE is the most powerful mobile broadband available anywhere in the world. With speeds up to 10 times faster than 3G, you can stay connected like never before. Video chat without delay, stream HD TV or movies in an instant, and download or upload in seconds. For details, visit us in Roosevelt or Vernal or call 622-5007. More speed, more power. 4G LTE, only from Strata Networks.
Welcome back to Local Point. I'm joined once again here in the studio with Derek Larson and Sarah John, both with the Boy Scouts of America. Thank you again for joining us. We were talking about camping and what camping really does for young men specifically. And Sarah, we'll talk to you a little bit more about your own children. But to start off with, what kind of camps are available to the Boy Scouts in the High Uinta Council?
Well, the High Uinta District, here
District,
locally,
thank you.
No problem, is we've got two camps that run really well. First, we have Cub Day camps that go for the Cubs, but those are held at the local city parks, like Naples Park, for example. But we have the camps for the older scouts. The biggest one we have is the High Uinta Scout Camp, and it's been running for years, over 50 years.
Wow.
Wonderful history, and it typically is up at Windy Park, and that's 2 weeks during the summer months of July. So we run 2 weeks in July.
And do the boys go the entire 2 weeks, or do you have
No,
different
just-
groups
just
come?
1 week.
One
Yep.
week at a time, you split it up. So how many boys do we have that go to these camps? I mean, just locally, how many do we have?
Typically every week, so we have 2 weeks,
Right.
we hold about 280 boys. So, you know, over 500, 550 boys will come every year to our camp.
And what kind of
Okay,
activities
so-
do they participate in when they go to these?
Oh, you can only imagine that. Archery, shooting, kayaking, canoeing, all the classics, you know, basketry, leatherwork,
Absolutely.
Indian lore,
Pioneering.
pioneering. It's fun. We have a
Yeah.
lot of fun up there.
Do the local kids ever get to go to camps outside of our little district here, to other Boy Scout
Most
camps?
definitely, yeah.
And is that something that, I mean, I guess how does that work logistically? Do you just have to be able to sign up for it? Yeah, how does it work?
Well, in our council, we have roughly 9 to 10 camps. You know, ours is one out here. We've got another one. We've got 3 high adventure camps. One at Bacon Park, which is north of White Rocks there.
Okay.
We've got one in Moab, which is in Trotta. And then we have one near Beaver, that's Beaver High Adventure Base. And those tailor mostly to the kids that are 14 years and older. And then, of course, we've got a lot of what we call merit badge camps or scout camps. We've got one here. We've got one in, it's called Franston Scout Ranch. It's near Schofield Reservoir. We have one that's Typhi near Mount Pleasant. We've got Thunder Ridge, which is again near Beaver. We've got classic Maple Dell that's near Payson. And then there's Blue Mountain, which is southern Utah. But we got a lot of great camps in our council.
Yeah, a lot of
So-
different environments as well, I imagine, for the kids to experience. So, Sarah, I got to ask, how long have you been a Scout mom?
I've been a Scout mom forever. And I have to say, I started as a Scout sister. And really, that's how I bought into the Scouting program. And
Okay.
it's fabulous when you have siblings that are there and actively a part of it. And I can go clear back to the 80s where my brother said, I'm going on a 50-mile hike. And I said, no, you're not. He said, yes, I am.
Don't lie to me.
And that's it. I really didn't believe him. And so the next year, his Scoutmaster invited me, and I was allowed to go too. And what a wonderful experience.
You did a 50-miler?
A 50-mile hike. And the first year, I didn't make it. The first year, I made 38 miles. And then 3 more years after that, I was able to do it. And it was such a great challenge. Here was this fabulous Scouting program. Leaders that cared about boys, boys that cared about the leaders. And it was wonderful. And so that's where I bought into it.
Yeah.
Then here I am, and I get my very first responsibility was to be a Scout leader, a new Scout leader for my brother.
Oh,
Now, that
really?
was fabulous. Here he is with his best friends, and we're taking them camping. We're out there, we're doing, and that's where Scouting came alive.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so much fun. Just love it. It's so involved for my kids. What they do, we do together. And so we're learning, we're growing, they're experiencing new things, and it's fabulous.
And so you've got 4 boys. How many, are they all within Scouting age right now?
They are not. I have
Okay.
3 Scouting age boys.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter's actually in a community crew. She's 16, and so she's part of the Scouting program as well because we're a part of the Scouting program.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that it becomes a really quite a family thing.
Absolutely. We plan our vacations around Scout camps. It's
Sorry,
true.
kids. We've got Scout Camp.
But
So-
we have wonderful. We were able to go to National Jamboree last year as a family.
How was
and,
that?
And how many people can say that? Our children loved it. It was a wonderful experience, so well set up, and just a beautiful environment. Well, I grew up back east, so that chance to go back that way was
Yeah.
just wonderful. To let my children see just that beautiful setup and the love of Scouting. There's a lot of professionals out there and a lot of people that are service-oriented, providing for kids.
So when you see your own children, you know, you obviously have a passion for Scouting. It just exudes. It's awesome. When they're in that environment, when they're at a Scout camp, what do you like to see them doing that makes you proud as a Scout mom?
Well, it's interesting. When we talk about the How You Want to Scout Camp, I've been staffing it since 1998. And I came on as a health officer. I have a nursing license, and so I started there. You know, boys are coming to me. They've got little cut fingers, and you begin to get to know boys. You know the ones that are homesick, and it's all they can do to stay there the whole week.
Yeah.
And you're there for them, and they'll come back and visit you again and again because I was the Scout mom. I wasn't just the nurse.
Yeah.
I was helping them find a connection to mom and dad. You're going to be okay. You're going to make it. And really, that's what it's all about, is helping the boys have a great experience.
And grow up. I mean, do you see a transformation in boys at the beginning of a camp to the end of a camp?
Absolutely. Absolutely. From the participants to even our staff, it's just a wonderful experience, the growth they have.
That's great. And so we've got camps coming up soon.
Absolutely.
This is the spring. We're almost in springtime. It's just about time to start doing that. What can parents do now to prepare their kids or to make sure that they get involved?
I think it's right back at make sure you're participating in those camps. Make sure your troops are signed up. Be an active mom, and I really think just like any other sports mom, you can be a Scout mom and make sure those leaders are there getting them signed up for these activities because they're well organized, well prepared. It's not about or earning a merit badge. Of course it is,
Yeah.
but it's also about a life experience where they're going to develop.
Yeah. And Derek, if somebody wants more information on Scouting, specifically locally, is there any kind of a website or anything that they can go to?
Yeah, we have a local website. It's www.utahscouts.org/Hi-Uinta.
Hi-Uinta.
Hi-Uinta.
District.
Yep.
What a beautiful place we live in. A great place to be a Scout and to learn all this great stuff.
Most beautiful country.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you so very much for joining
Thank you.
us, both of
Thanks.
you. And thank you, of course, for being here with VTV. Be sure to join us next time right here on Channel 6 VTV. We'll see you then.